Hey worship team, welcome to video 4 of worship training. This is part 1 of a little two-part series. I'm going to talk about leading worship and singing with conviction. There's a worship leader named Matt Redman who kind of coined a phrase that he doesn't necessarily like to call people worship leaders, but rather lead worshipers. Basically meaning when we're up on stage, we're not just there to play some cool music or to sing some catchy phrases, but we're there to lead people into worship. That we're there to set a tone or set a bar for the room and say, people, we are here to love God. We are here to glorify God and to be with Him and just to enjoy Him and to sing about and declare who He is. 99% of the time, when we think about who the best worship teams or what the best worship teams are or who the best worship leaders are, most of the time it's not just because they sound cool, like they play good music or they have a nice sounding voice, but it's because when they sing, they actually believe the words they sing in. Meaning, like, if they're singing that God is faithful, they actually believe deep in their heart that God is faithful. When they sing that God is good, they actually believe and have a conviction that God is good, and they're declaring it to people. They're declaring it to us, and it causes us to remember who God is. It breaks off all the lies that we tend to believe, and we remember the true characteristics of God, and it inspires our hearts to love Him. It inspires our hearts to trust God, and it moves us into that place of sincere worship. So my heart for us as a team and for us as worship leaders is that we would be like that. There's a preacher guy that used to say he wants to preach as a dying man to dying men. And my heart for you, my heart for me, is that when I lead worship, that I would lead worship as a dying man to dying men. That when we sing choruses, we would sing as if it's the last thing we could say to someone before we die or before they die. That we would declare the truth and say, this is who God is. This is what He is like. And we would sing it to them and actually believe it, to declare the truth of who God and what God is like. So would you consider these things, pray about these things, and think and ask God, God, would you make this true and realistic in my life? I want to be like this. In the next video, in part 2, I want to give you just a few practical things that I've been practicing to try and develop this more in my life, because I'm tired of going through the motions. I'm tired of faking it on stage. I want to really sing with a conviction and sing of things that I really believe about the Lord. So I love you guys again, and I will see you in the next video.